Alright, what up guys? My name is Michael,
I'm Ben.
and today we're going to talk about how to get into the University of Minnesota as a freshman and as a transfer student. As you guys may not know, I do also have a YouTube channel, and Ben also has a YouTube channel. This video is going to be on both of our channels. On my channel, I haven't been posting in over almost a year, and I will give you guys a little update, but as of right now, I'll tell you guys that I transferred to the U this fall. If you guys haven't watched my channel, I came from the University of Minnesota Duluth, so it's also in the U of M system, and I will talk about how I transferred to the U, and then he'll talk about how he got into the U as a freshman.
Yeah, so I got into the U as a freshman, and so I'm going to talk about a few things that I think are really important as you're applying to the U and as you're going through high school in order to ensure that you do get in when you apply. So the first one right off the bat is your test scores. Test scores are pretty important at the U of M. I actually just learned yesterday that the average ACT for an incoming freshman is 28. So that's pretty good, and depending on what school you're applying to get into, that might be lower or higher. But making sure that you're really focusing on those test scores, and my one tip there is just take as many practice tests as you can, because that's really going to help you get a feel of what the tests are like. And then when you actually take the real one, it'll help you to probably get a much better score.
But yeah, test scores are really important. That's the one thing I think that didn't get me to the U. So if you are a junior right now or a senior who is probably going to retake their ACT, I recommend doing it because it's really important.
Yeah, so next up, the next thing that's important is your grades or your GPA. And so again, this sort of ties into the test scores, but grades are pretty important to getting into the U. So really that just comes down to making sure you stay focused in your studies at school. Even if you're a senior, you still got to make sure that you keep up a good GPA so that when the U looks at your application, they see that you're a hardworking student and that you're really someone who's going to do well at school here.
Did you also have a goal going to each semester?
Yeah, so for me, I always have been pretty focused on school. I didn't necessarily have a specific GPA that I was going for, but I always went into every class with the expectation that I was going to do well, and whatever it took for me to do well and try to get an A in that class, I would do that. And so I think that was really helpful in making sure that I would be focused and trying to get a good grade.
For me, every single semester I had a goal of getting a 3.5 GPA for every single semester. Obviously, you're not going to reach it sometimes. Some semesters are going to have a really tough schedule, which is normal. The whole purpose is, not just doing well in school, but also doing well and being well-rounded, and which would lead us to extracurriculars.
Yeah, so for extracurriculars, overall you want to show that you're someone who really has a lot of different experiences and is unique. But my one tip there is a lot of people think that you should just join as many clubs as possible and try to spread yourself out. But actually what I would recommend is really focusing on one or two clubs in particular and trying to get a leadership position in one of those clubs, because that really shows that you are a leader and you're someone who can take charge, and that's the type of person that you would want to admit. So it's definitely a good idea to join a bunch of clubs, but you really want to try and focus in on a few that you think you have the potential to be a leader in.
Yeah, you just want to, you don't want to overwhelm yourself. You want to keep everything minimal so it makes life easier as you progress throughout your whole high school career.
Next up is the courses that you take in high school. So what you want to do here is you definitely want to make sure that you're taking hard courses, but in addition to that, you really want to go above and beyond the minimum required courses that the U has. So on their website, they do list a few different courses that you're required to take some amount of them, but you really want to make sure that you're exceeding that you're going above and beyond that. So like, for example, if the U's requirement is that you have to take 2 years of a language, instead you should actually take 3 or 4 years, because that shows that you're really dedicated. And then additionally, if your school offers AP or IB classes, make sure you're taking those too.
For me, I did PSCO. I did full-time PSCO, which means you are a college student who is enrolling in college classes You could be part-time, which is below 12 credits, and if you're full-time, then you're above 12 credits. For PSO students, you are actually doing college classes, even though you're a high school student. But when you go to college, it's strictly college. They don't care if you are a high schooler or not. But for me, my experiences of PSO was I did full-time from junior and senior year. And then when I was taking my classes, when I was picking out my classes, I made sure it met my high school requirements for graduation, because that is very important. And if you don't pass a class in your PSO class, if you do really bad, it's going to reflect in your GPA. For my high school, they don't weigh your grades. I don't know how your high school is, but every single high school is different. But if you do bad in one of your classes in PSEO, it's going to be really hard to retake those classes, because those are not the same compared to high school. So if you are thinking about doing PSEO, you should also reconsider, like, okay, would I have enough time to study? Am I prepared? You will. I mean, when I did it, I saw my friends. I still did sports. I managed the basketball team. I played varsity baseball. I was still able to do all those things, but it was kind of tough to do my studies, because I had just so little time each night to do this. But I recommend doing PSEO if you can, because it is actual college classes, and you will get a lot of college credits transferring into whatever school you want to apply to. Doing PSEO gave me the opportunity to double major instead of just doing one major. So yeah, I do recommend PSEO if you're ready for it.
And to add on to that, if you are a high schooler in Minnesota, there is a chance that you could even do PSEO at the University of Minnesota. And if you're able to get accepted into that PSEO program, then there's a really good chance that they would let you continue into full-time undergraduate. So moving on to the next one, I'm going to be talking about the essays that you have to submit when you apply to get into the U as a freshman. So what you really want to do here is you want to try to stand out, you want to try to be unique, and so you really sort of have to let your personality shine through in your essays, but overall you really want to show that you're someone who's willing to work hard and someone that's going to be successful at the school, because that's really what they look for in these essays, is someone that's willing to do what it takes to be successful. Even if your grades weren't that good in high school, if you show that you're willing to work and you have the desire to improve and be successful, then that's something that they really value.
Yeah, so also in terms of essays, letters of recommendation, if you want to show the you that, you know, even though I didn't do well in high school, like my grades aren't like perfect or anything, but they're decent, and my ACT score was not, you know, impressive, but as long as you have a teacher's letter of recommendation, it is very important. And also making connections with your high school classmates and your teachers is very important, because those will go a long way, because sometimes you might, you know, need something from a high school teacher, like letter of recommendations when it's your senior year, when you're applying. It is very key in terms of showing that I am a good student, but my grades just don't show it.
Into the next thing is just any other circumstances that you have that might affect or might not be shown in your application are definitely things that are important and that you should include. So that can be things like a job that you had throughout high school, or family members who have attended the U of M or who might work for the U of M, or even being a first generation college student. All that stuff really just helps it helps you stand out and helps make you unique in your application to the U of M. So if you have anything like that, make sure to add it and make sure to focus on that in your application.
Yeah, because when they look at your application, they just see your grades and your scores. You don't want to just be a statistics. You want to also show them who you are. So when I applied as a freshman to get into the U, it was senior year of high school. When I applied, I got rejected during it was around spring break, and I was crushed. So what I did was I got into 6 other schools, and I decided to pick the University of Minnesota Duluth as the school that I was going to attend my freshman year. Going into my freshman year, I also had the mindset of, even though I didn't get into the U, I'm not going to give up. Like, this year is, the year that I'm going to attend UMD, and next year might be the U, who knows. So I never gave up. I had the mindset of, I'm going to work hard and try to get into the U by the end of the year. And so what I did was I contacted the admissions, I applied, and if I have any questions, I asked the admissions on like what I need to do to get into the U as a transfer, because not everybody gets into the U, but at the same time you shouldn't give up because there's always a second chance, which is transferring. Also, when you are transferring, also make sure the classes that you're taking fulfills the program that you're applying to, because the program that I applied to was psychology, and I met the requirement by taking general psychology, which is a really interesting class when I took at UMD. And then I also had another application, which was I applied for the kinesiology program. I did not hear back from them because I did not take the required classes, because I still needed to take physics and anatomy, I believe, to get into kinesiology. So if the program has certain requirements, make sure you knock them out before you apply, because they look at the application that if you're going to apply for the fall and you're taking the classes in the fall semester this year and you're applying for next fall, then they look at your application that was done like last semester.